This is Lance Moore, the voice of the fans, and this is the League of Ireland Review Match Day 18. We are at the halfway mark, and before I have a chat with Conor, I am going to remind you, please subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit that like button as well, because it does help grow the channel. Head over to our Facebook, Instagram, and our Twitter accounts. Don't forget, we obviously have the International Week coming up. Actually, kind of in it, to be honest with you. We will be over in Dublin. We will be over in Luxembourg. So stay tuned to that. There's also a fanzine available. That is in the link below here. And on the 20th of June, of course, we will be live, Conor, myself, and Martin, with David Ford in the Claddering. And of course, that's in association with Risk London. And you can buy his new book that he's just released. He's going to sign it. You can buy it. And you can get free food. Well, food with your £30 ticket. I mean, come on. That's an absolute bargain. That will be in the Claddering, North London, on the 20th of June at 8 p.m. Right. Conor, how are you doing on this wonderful June evening?
I'm good. It feels weird it's June. It feels weird we're in an international week. It doesn't feel like Ireland are playing on Friday, although we're talking about League of Ireland night. It feels weird. I just feel like I'm expecting to have the League of Ireland back on Friday night, and I realise quite sad no League of Ireland on this week, which in fairness, players do need a break. It is the international break at the end of the season, at the end of the day, sorry. And as much as Duff wants to complain about not having breaks and that this league is unprofessional to have a break whilst the international break is on, I think it's good to get the week off League of Ireland just for people, especially when there's a lot of volunteers involved in these clubs that are putting their life and soul really into it. Sometimes a week off for them can be a good opportunity to de-stress and get back to normal ways next week.
Yeah, I mean, I have to laugh at him, because, Shelbourne are on such a rich vein of form right now. Yeah, it's just utterly ridiculous. So what are we going to do? We're going to have League of Ireland on the Ireland team are playing. Because then what you'd have is you have the FAI getting in the neck, wouldn't you? About, how can you put it up against international football? What are you trying to do to the league, or to the international team probably? So yeah, of course they're going to have an international break for God's sakes. I like Duff, but he does come out with some nonsense, and that is pure nonsense. To be fair, of course, we're gonna have an international break. You've
because there isn't one in September, October, November, I believe, because it's just if like in League One and like League Two, if you have a certain amount of players that meet the threshold of say 3 international players called up, you can request have the match postponed to a later date because of missing that many players. But like there was an international break in March for the League of Ireland. It should be probably, the reality is with the more and more international players like from abroad coming into the league, with the reality that a lot of Irish players are starting to, whether it's the under 21s, quite a few under 21s from the League of Ireland, like it's going to be a case that you're going to have to take international breaks, because whether they're playing for Cape Verde like Pico Lopez or Ghana for Joey and Ghana, I think.
Josh
for Joey
Honahan.
Josh Honahan was Ireland. Like if Damien Duff was losing Meepo to Ireland or was losing other lads to other countries, he would be raging if he didn't have an international break in the middle of it. So I think he's just contradicting himself, and he's just looking for something to complain about. Fairness, he's great character and he's great. Like that's done headlines around the country, people wondering, is he right, is he wrong? But I just think he is very wrong in that sense.
Totally. And the better league gets, the more internationals you get, the higher quality you get, the more players are going to be going to international duty. So yeah, get used to it, Damien, because that's where the league's going. Yeah, I mean, although I think he knows what he's saying, though, doesn't he? Like, he's just, he's been that caricature of himself, trying to take the pressure off the players. He's, he loves it. He loves the attention, and he does love the attention. Let's be honest. And that's what it is. But anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at the results, the league table, no fixtures because there are no fixtures, and then we're going to have a little bit of a mini mid-season award ceremony, Conor. That
we've no music for it though, do we?
No, because we got copyrighted on that. Yeah, so yeah, I know, right? Bastards. Right, well, let's have a look at the results here, and then we'll go through match game by game. Results, of course, Bohemians 1-0 win over Derry City at home. Cork City 1-1 draw with Shelbourne. Sligo Rovers losing 1-0. Hard-fought win for St. Pat's over in Sligo's, over in Sligo. Waterford 2, Drogheda United 2, and Shamrock Rovers a 0-0 draw with Galway United. So the first game, hope we're going to have a little chat about there, obviously, is Bohs Derry. Let me get my little screen up there. Of course, Derry down to 10 men. Although, to be fair, Robbie Benson was sent off in the 82nd minute. But Dale Rooney with a second-minute penalty there for Bohs was a beautiful penalty as well. And to be fair, Bohs pretty much deserved it against Derry. I don't think they get too many complaints. And, of course, a late red card out of frustration. But a fantastic win there for Bohs.
Yeah. I think it's quite questionable penalty that was given away against Mark Connolly within the first 3 minutes. I didn't think it was a penalty. A lot of other people didn't think it was a penalty. I did some people did this because he kind of moved his arm a bit out, but I don't think it was enough to give a penalty, especially so early in the game.
But text.
In fairness, Bohs played very well. I thought they played very well, but it always does help when you get an early goal. It settles any nerves. But no, they were very good. I thought Dawson Devoy was absolutely brilliant in the middle of the park. Sean Grehan was on his last game at Daly Mowing Park before he goes back to Crystal Palace, was absolutely brilliant yet again and showing how good of a talent he really is. And Derry were probably the worst Derry performance in quite a while. Tiernan Lynch made an early change because of how poor they were, and then made an extra 3 at half time. And after 45 minutes, picking 4 changes is kind of unheard of, but at least he tried to change things. They should have got a penalty in the second half. Robbie Benson clearly wasn't too happy about it, got the yellow card, and then he got the second yellow, which even I think his manager isn't too annoyed about, because the fact is he should have got a penalty, and he probably knows how heightened his emotions would have been after getting denied really a clear penalty. But yeah, Bohs definitely were the better side. You can say they are full value for the 3 points, but Derry should have got a penalty, which always can change any momentum in any game. But Bohs are building something nicer. Tiernan Lynch is building a tidy squad. It'll be interesting what to do in the centre back situation when Grehan goes back. But I'm liking what I'm seeing from them.
Yeah, 7 wins in 9 games for Bohs. A bit mad, really. They still haven't drawn a game. It's mad. They've won 10, lost 8, but they've won 7 out of the last 9. It's fantastic there. And of course, Derry, they've lost their last 2 games now as well. They haven't had a win in 3 in the last 3. And it's not looking too great for them now. They're kind of slipping away from the title picture. Next one up there we'll talk about is, of course, Cork City 1-1 draw with Shelbourne. And that's what I was talking about earlier on. Shelbourne hardly in sparkling form at the moment. But Sean Maguire, rolling back the years there, put them ahead. And, of course, Alistair Coote levelling up there in the 71st minute. But with their own shot on the target, really, that is Shell's, well, in the last 5, they've won 2, lost 1, drawn 2. So still stuttering away there. And Cork City, well, they stopped the rot, because in the last 5 games, they've drawn 1 and lost 4. Well, they lost the previous 4 to this one. So this is Duff is going to be disappointed with this as well, isn't he? They're right down the middle of a relegation battle. Cork, you're supposed to be defending a title. And of course, his frustrations boiled over. It was caught on TV, wasn't it? He was bollocking his players at half time.
Yeah. I don't think there's that. I actually don't think there's that wrong with the bollocking at halftime, to be honest, because sometimes players do need it, and he did say that's the first time he's done it. But weird he left the windows open to maybe hear people catch it on TV. But no, in fairness, he did need it. He did make 3 changes at halftime after that, because that is not how Shells want to play. And Cork will probably be disappointed didn't take all 3 points out of the game. Shawnee Maguire's header was a brilliant goal. It was superb cross by Mbeng, and then Shawnee finished it brilliantly. And then Shell's goal was actually a very, very good goal from Ali Coote, which probably Turner's Cross is a hard place to go to. It's not an easy place to go, but there's no easy place to go in the League of Ireland. And if you're going to win a title, you're going to have to go to the hard places and probably win 75% of them for probably the rest of the season to any hope. They're so far off Rovers now that you'd wonder, are they completely... Is it a sort of thing that they've, a 2-3% chance to win the league at this stage? I don't think anyone expects to win them. I was like, are they going to even finish top four and get a European place next season? Because there's a lot of competition for them top four places. Like I know we have Drogheda there at the moment, and people expect them to fall back, but you have teams like Derry, Shells, who'll all be trying to get that other. Because probably you think that maybe Bohs and Pats, you think probably off their squads will probably finish in two of the four places along with Rovers. So there's probably one place there, I think, between Shells and Derry. So it's gonna be a real interesting one to see how Shells deal with, especially if the Champions League qualifiers coming up, which you hope that they will do well and hopefully qualify maybe for the Conference League. But will they invest a lot this summer with the fact that they have a lot of to improve in that squad? Like,
I mean, financial issues as well, haven't they? Coming up. Apparently, they got some financial issues as well. It was sent to me a while ago.
are you sure?
Yeah. There was. Well, I'll read it out to you here. This was sent to me a while back. Reigning champion Shells recorded a loss of 3.5 million euros over the last 3 years, more than any other club in that period. The return to the Champions League this summer carries potential lucrative financial reward, depending how deep the Reds go. But Quinn wants to see Shells on a sound financial footing as plans for Van Tulka Park over the coming years comes into sharp focus. So obviously,
Oh yeah,
you know,
yeah, but no football club makes money. Australia, 99% of football clubs lose money.
yeah,
Like,
you've got to be in Europe and you've got to be going
yeah,
well. But unfortunately, I think for Shells, they probably need another season in Europe on top of whatever they get from this one. I mean, look what Rovers did, how much money they made. They made millions, but they went they did the league really proudly. What they did in the Conference League, and they held their own.
yeah,
I mean, Shell's going to be able to hold their own. They need to, they have to invest in a new stadium because let's be honest, Telka Park isn't bits, and they're going to have to invest in new players as well. They're going to have a bigger squad probably, and they're stuttering. And he's probably going to have to get in fresh players as well because I think we've had a window into how Duff manages the team. Nothing wrong with it, right? It's a bit old school, it's a bit John Sitton, Orient Club for a Fibre. Have you ever watched that? Have you watched that?
no,
Christ, you got to watch. I'm going to send it on to you when we finish there. Some of our older fans will know exactly what I'm talking about. And it's a bit old school 90s. But there's only so much you could take that for. There's only so much where you can do it. There's only for so long that your players will react to that before they become immune to it. If you keep shouting at somebody, right? You keep screaming at somebody constantly. First couple of times, you go, Jesus. Then you get used to it. It has no effect. And you're starting up here all the time. You should always be down here, and then you go. But I get the feeling, he said he hasn't done it for a while. I get the feeling he does that a lot. I get the feeling he does that quite a lot. What say you?
yeah, I do agree, but I do think though it hasn't helped. They have had a lot of injuries, especially at the back this season. But like they've kind of switched their style of play a bit more this year to more of a possession based, trying to dominate teams more than
He's trying to
last year.
play a bit more.
Yeah, and
Instead of
especially when Meepos come in, they've kind of gone to. I know Sean White's been out for a while, but like even they were playing two up top for a while. Um, like, and the reality is, the squad that won the league last season was the weakest Shell squad. That's probably won, or the weakest League of Ireland team that won a league in the last. It's not a disrespect to the league. It's just that reality is that squad wasn't in other years wouldn't have been a title winning squad, and we're kind of seeing it this year. Like they had a couple of good sides, but the reality is they need a lot more than a couple of new good signings. Like I know your boy Norris has done very well at left back. Will be going back to Liverpool this summer, and I don't know what because I think they will invest quite a bit because at the end of the day, I know they've lost money, but like they do spend a bit, and the reality is they do have. I've seen the record investment into their AUL campus, what they're doing in terms of academy facilities. So I think that they're the type of club that will get investors, all right, but it's just long term. How can they build really?
See, Shamrock Shamrock Rovers are so lucky. Shamrock Rovers are so lucky. They've got that stadium, and they've got the investment. They have the academy. Shelbourne are trying to get to that stage. Like, I'm going to get another text about this, but Shamrock Rovers are the standard bearer. If you had 10 teams like Shamrock Rovers with that ground, those facilities, you'd have a much healthier, better league that following as well. So Shelbourne need to get to that. Tulka Park has been in dire need of renovation for like 30 years. And they're fighting it. They're fighting it on a few fronts as well. They need reinvestment in the squad. They need reinvestment in the facilities, the pitch as well, that kind of thing. But no, best of luck to them. But yeah, they probably need another. They could redo it European football next season. So next up, Sligo Rovers 0, St. Pat's 1, a hard fought win for Steve McKenny. He was quite relieved actually afterwards. Of course, that's the reverse. Easy for me to say of last week's fixture where Sligo got a 2-2 draw at Richmond Park. Mason Amelia with a lovely penalty on the 10th minute. There, enough to get all 3 points, Conor, and a very much needed win for the Pats, for the Super Saints.
Yeah, massive win. For Pats, they badly needed it because they've been quite poor as of late. Aidan Keane obviously scoring the penalty against his old club. He done that celebration again where he acts like he's not going to celebrate and starts doing his celebration, which probably doesn't go down too well as it doesn't go down too well as Sligo fans. But in fairness, excellent striker, especially they were out Melia through injury, and he has they showed that they can still deal without him. And I know Simon Power done very well in the wing. Actually, he was a Sligo last season, and it's a badly needed win for Pats more than just a performance, because we've seen games this season they've actually played quite well and dominated teams, and somehow not scored or not got the 3 points. So yeah, it's a big 3 points for them. Disappointing for Sligo, really. As always, Sligo play lovely football, a very good side, and it just can't either make a mistake at the back or they can't take their chances. Obviously, comes through a penalty, which is always an annoying way to lose a game. But no, I think Sligo, like the thing is, Sligo take confidence from these sort of performances because they always play well, and like probably see themselves only losing 1-0 the Pats and thinking, well, we could have easily got at least a point out of that game, and thinking, how are we going to be finished last season when we have this much quality? So hopefully you'll see things improve for Sligo after this international break, and then we'll see the best of Sligo. But yeah, it's a badly needed win for Pats, and if they've any chance of winning the league title, they had to go to the showgrounds last weekend and pick up the 3 points.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it keeps them in the hunt barely, that win there. But no, as I said, Stephen Kenny was quite relieved afterwards. Next up, Waterford 2-2 draw with Drogheda. Waterford thought they had secured all 3 points until an injury time winner from Conor Keeley, the 93rd minute, and Drogheda did get a player sent off in the 97th minute. Alicia, how do you say his surname? Achewy. Yeah, but Drogheda hanging in there down in Waterford. Drogheda, I mean, they've kind of, well, they're still up there, but they're not really. I mean, they haven't, in the last 5, they've drawn 3, lost 1, and won 1. So they're hardly setting it on fire. But Waterford as well, down the bottom, near the bottom of the table. It's not really what if you're going to put together a title race, you need to be winning those games.
Yeah. Yeah. It was probably a very disappointing. Waterford fans and players probably gutted with that, because like they've had that game home and hose really, and they thought, oh yeah, great stuff. We can pick up the 3 points and move on to the next and put them back in the hunt really for a European place, you would say, because they're not really in a relegation battle, to be honest. And like they had 69% possession the other day, completely on top of Drogheda. But we know Drogheda, like even in the second half, did 73% possession, which is a huge amount of possession to have a 45-minute period. And in fairness, Padraig Hammond, despite his age, scores and won't stop scoring. Like he's 37 and he's just doing the business in the League of Ireland this season. I don't know how he does it. He just seems to be getting better with age, which is always great to see someone making a real impact. And then Conor Keeley getting the lead. Obviously Warren Davis and Tommy Lonergan, two very good young strikers getting goals, which is always good to see the young players getting on the score sheet. And then Conor Keeley doing what Conor Keeley's doing this season and won't stop scoring somehow from centre half. Like it's mad to have a centre half scoring that many goals and such a threat in the opposition box. And he scored 5 goals this season, which is in the 19 games. If a striker had that in the League of Ireland, you'd say that's probably a decent return because it's a very hard league to score in. But yeah, I think Drogheda fans actually would probably be happy with their point in the end, because a 93rd minute equaliser is always kind of ends up being a good point. But
Yeah,
I think it's
it's a
thing
bit.
Drogheda is the type, we'll move on, we'll take the point and move on to the next. Waterford will be gutted that they didn't pick up all 3 points.
Yeah, no, it's a boost, isn't it? Like if you can see the 90-minute equalizer, it can kill you. But I suppose they'll take some confidence from it. And still, they need to be putting pressure on at the top, on Rovers at the top. I'm not spoiling it. I mean, they were top last week. And of course, speaking of Rovers, last game of the week, Shamrock Rovers 0, Galway United 0. Rovers tried 4 shots on target, 72% possession, 23 shots on goal. Galway had 8 shots on goal, 1 on target, and of course, only 28% possession, 642 passes with an 83% pass accuracy, and they just could not find a way past Galway.
Yep, Galway, in fairness, even people, you can see Stephen Bradley saying it was kind of points a fair result, and it kind of highlights like Rovers at 70% possession, and
72.
72, which is huge numbers. Like,
Outrageous.
yeah, like to dominate a team like that, and and they say from a Stephen Bradley point of view, like obviously he'd be biased, saying that the result draw was probably a fair result, which highlights that Rovers just didn't do enough when they had the ball. They had the ball, and they just didn't create the chances they needed really to break down Galway in the way you probably thought they would have. Like, it's a strange game, like, to have that much possession and not create that much. But it's not the worst point for Rovers, because I know it's disappointing for them not to win that game. They're still top of the league. Their lead over Drogheda hasn't been cut by any further because of Drogheda drawing as well. And Galway going away to Talab, getting a point out of the game, they'll be delighted with that, especially with how the flow of the game was, that they got absolutely dominated, really. So I think it's a case for both teams. Rovers probably won't be too annoyed, because the thing is, they can't win every game, no matter what people say.
No,
But
no.
yeah, I think both teams is kind of end up being quite a dead game, to be honest. Because it was the later kickoff, I've seen bits and bobs of it. It wasn't much of a entertaining game, but I think both teams will be somewhat happy. It's hard to say a team is happy after having 70% possession and not scoring, and what was it, 23 shots? But no, I don't think they'll be too annoyed. I think they'll be happy to have the break behind them and go into the break knowing that they're probably, you'd say, not well in front, but they've
Well,
opened a gap for the first time by a team this season over the last couple of weeks at the top of the league, which they'll be happy with.
let's have a look at the table. There we are at the halfway point. Shamrock Rovers on top 9, played 19 games, 36 points. Drogheda United, as you said, they're just behind them, same amount of games, 30 points, 6 points behind. Bohemians, though, have a game in hand, and they're on 30 points. So, they could potentially be just 3 points behind Shamrock Rovers. Pats, they've also played an extra game. They're on 29 points, 7 points off top spot in 5th. Shelbourne, way off the pace. 19 games played, 27. They are 9 points off top spot. Derry City in 6th. They've played 18. They got 27 points. Galway United, 18 games played, 24 points in 7th. And, of course, Waterford in 8th. Played 18, 23 points. And then, of course, that's when we have the 2 lads down the bottom. Quite a drift. 9th, Cork City, played 18, 13 points. And Sligo Rovers still propping up the table, played 18, and they have got 12 points at the very, very bottom. And, of course, we're a little bit unlucky to lose to Pats. And
yeah. Oh, Dave, what's your opinion also on this whole situation with Drogheda and the chance that they might miss out in Europe because of the team that the Trevella group, I think is how you pronounce it, own themselves, and the team in Denmark that now are in Europe? It seems that Crystal Palace are in the same position with Lyon, as they have the same owner, and they're both Europa League. They're both in the Europa League, but now the 2 teams are in the Conference League qualifying. And yeah, I just think it's just shocking. I think it's shocking that if Drogheda end up getting put out of Europe, because it ends up being is the way they have it in the rules is whoever finishes higher in their respective league, it gets to play it. But because Drogheda finished 9th last season because they got the cup, they qualified through winning the cup, and I think the other crowd finished 7th or something in Denmark. So yeah, I just wonder what do you think of that?
It's shocking that they didn't see this happening. This is a problem. This seems to be a problem now in modern football. That's kind of it's probably been around a bit longer. I mean, it's been around. I suppose it's been around in football for decades, multi-club ownership, but it's only kind of really they've only started clamping down on it the last few years. I remember Robert Maxwell, was it Oxford and Preston he owned, or something like that, and as a player, he had like an interest. And going back now, Mark Lawrence was the manager of Oxford, and he sold Dean Saunders, and he gave out yards about it, and Robert Maxwell sacked him. He was the old editor of the Daily Mirror. But anyway, I know kind of haven't got a clue what I'm talking about. But there seems to be it's a bit of a menace in the game at the moment, and yeah, the FIFA and UEFA are clamping down on it. We've had it where clubs have had to relinquish other clubs, you know,
Mhm.
and I'm not sure that's going to happen with Drogheda. You kind of wonder, like, would they be a priority for the Danish club? With all due respect to Drogheda, how will they view Irish football? Will they be snobby
Yeah.
towards Irish football? Okay, well, we don't really care,
I
but
think I think they will have some sort of way of trying to get around it, whether it's selling a certain percentage of it or putting it to someone else's name
I think they
that they
still
can.
have shares, but yeah, it's the
Yeah, yeah,
ownership
yeah.
percentage, isn't it?
Yeah, I think they will get away with it. I personally think because it's like can they? The reality is they will lose out in 525k minimum for just being in the first round, and as ways can they find a way money wise? Like thing is, if it ends up that they only if they can get away with it, I don't know what to say. For example, money wise, and they only make 200 grand from it, it's still worth it. And then you have the second round after that if you qualify past then, which you'd always be hopeful the Irish team. I know Drogheda won't be seeded, but they get past that. And like we've seen with United and Nice before, and even the two Red Bull
Mm.
clubs, they've found ways of getting around it. Um, but it's just kind of it's probably a wait and see game. You hope that they've been prepared for this and that the group can find a way of working out for both things because like it's even though you're saying it's about Drogheda giving up on this Trivella group, thinking, oh, I have priority of the Danish team. And the thing is, um, it wouldn't be a great look on them as an organization. And the thing is, if this happens, it will be the very first time since these rules have been brought into place, the rules have actually been
Of
exercised as
course.
such. They've always been ways of clubs getting around it. But if this happens, this will be the first time. And I don't think it'll be a great luck for this ownership group that own multi clubs. So I think they will hopefully get away around it.
But then you think of Drogheda. Sorry, not Drogheda, Dundalk. They're
Yeah.
County Loud neighbours, so
I did love
yeah,
that. I did be buzzing with it.
they would. But you look at the owners of Dundalk. So you don't know.
Yeah.
Like some of these guys will, with all due respect to the clubs, and we're here to try and help promote the League of Ireland as much as we can. But some of these other clubs, these other countries, look their noses down on League of Ireland, on Irish football, and you can't. I just
Yeah.
hope that's the case, and you find a way around Extrada. I,
Yeah.
I want them in
Hopefully.
the league. Yeah, I
Because I think
want
it's
them.
they're going. I was saying to you, Dave. I think it was it you was saying to here before. Like them in Europe would be such a hard team to play against. The way the ground
Mm,
they have, the style of football they have, they don't mind. Like because really is mostly of Ireland teams. Like say for example, Shamrock Rovers. I know they don't. It's a bad example really, but like they kind of have to switch their style of play up a lot coming to Europe because they're used to dominating possession wise, and then they could come play away in some very like a Swedish team, a Danish team, a Norwegian team that's very good. So they have to swap their style. Drogheda will just play the exact same way no matter what, who they play at all times.
will those
So
games be in Dublin though? Will they be in Shamrock
no,
Rovers
it would your initial qualifiers can you can play at home. Like
for
Derry, you
group
always
games?
play at home. Yeah, so it's only if you qualify, but they would be a very very hard team to play against, to be
Mm.
honest, for anyone. So I just hope they can find a way of getting this over the line. I think they will, to be honest. I trust the people who involved to get it sorted, but it is a bit of a worry at the same time.
Yeah, amazed that it's actually got this far. To be fair, um, yeah, mid game awards or mid season awards. Connor, I know you are. Go on,
Yep.
hit us with
Who?
them quickly.
Go on. Give me your player of the year first.
So far, I had to be Jack Byrne.
Yeah.
That's why he's played 16 games out of 19, 6 assists, 2 goals, 34 chances created, 11 shots. I mean, that lad is really scoring his best form again.
Yeah. Yeah,
What about yours?
it's fair. He's had a serious start to the season, but I've gone with the good old reliable Conor Keeley because I just think that the fact that he's went from not really playing at all last season with Pats going to the Drogheda this year, the underdog story. The least thing anyone would have predicted was how good they have, and he's probably been their best player. Scored 5 goals from centre half, won a couple of penalties. Defensively, he's been very solid. And yeah, you'd hope the Drogheda he can shine in Europe if Drogheda qualify, but um, no, I just think he's been the best player in the league so far this season. How he's impact not just I know people say about, oh yeah, it's usually easier to give it to an attacker if you give it to even a Graham Burke or a Jack Byrne. I think just the fact how much he's impacted Drogheda since re-signing for him this summer, or sorry, this
Mm.
winter, and the fact that they're still after 19 games this high up the table. Like I know even after 10 games they were top of the table, but everyone's like, oh yeah, they'll start losing games now, and they just haven't really started losing games. I know they've drawn games, but he's played a massive part with how well defensively he's been. And anytime you read reports and games, if you never see them, it always seems to be man the match at the bottom of the thing is Conor Cayley. So hopefully he can keep up that form because he has been. It's been a really good story to see him come back from kind of being left out in the dust last year, past to probably proving a
Mm.
lot of people wrong this year.
Absolutely. Your next one?
Young player of the year, I would say, my opinion is Owen Elding with Sligo Rovers. I think he's the only reason really Sligo Rovers are still in a chance of staying up in the league. They'd probably be on, I think, personally, I think they'd probably be on 6 points, half what they're on right now. If he wasn't in that side, 7 goals from kind of playing out wide or kind of playing as number 10, really. And I think the only thing stopping him from really getting that recognition he deserves is having his Irish passport coming through yet that he can represent the 21s. But no,
Mhm.
he what a season he's had so far. Like he's kind of been the breakout star as such that is kind of gone to another level. But yeah, I've been so impressed with Owen Elding and I think he's only really getting a start. Like it's his first year really in men's football. So he still has so much room to grow. And I'm sure Sligo will have a battle on their hands to keep hold of him.
Yeah, for me, it's got to be Mason Amelia, of course.
Oh, of course you
Uh,
do.
of course. No, I just love everything about him. I think he is going to be a super player, playing for the Super Saints, of course. But no, I just his striking ability, his finishing is superb. If he, if he could bring that to England, like if he can continue that, and look, he's going to be playing in a much faster, harder league where he's in the Premier League or the Championship. If he can just keep the fundamentals of what he has, of his ability, and add to that, um, you know, his all round game or whatever, just that finishing ability is like gold dust. And obviously that's why they forked out £1 million for him.
No
Yeah.
bias, sir. No bias, sir.
No, I just think he's a super player, and I love the fact that the league there's a few other young lads like Elding, and you got a few other youngsters there that we've spoken about over the last few weeks. You've named off loads of them, 16-year-olds, and they could be the next Mace Amelia's, and the league is just filled with these young talented lads, and it's brilliant to see. But no, he's the standout one for me. I just think unfortunately, Pats are really poor at the moment. I know he's had injured as well, but if he was playing in a better Pats team, because obviously they'll play to his strengths if they can, but they are struggling. And he's got him some massive points,
Yeah,
some big goals for them as well. So he's kind of dragging. Now, he wasn't playing for them, obviously, but, he's dragged them along in a couple
yeah,
of games as well. He's only a young lad,
yeah.
too. So massive future for this guy. But I just love his finishing. I just love how quick
And
he is.
it's a lot more than just finishing with him. It's a big thing, isn't it? He just offers he's the whole package. Like it's not just finishing. Like even if he doesn't
Mm.
score, he'll offer you so much. Whether it's hold up play, linking up with his teammates, or backing into defenders and no one to drop to the floor and win a free kick. So
He just has
yeah,
it, doesn't he?
yeah,
Like,
he just has that.
yeah, and he will do that, and he'll work his arse off for the team as well. He's a proper team player, so he's got the right attitude, he's got the minerals for it, and yeah, I just think so far. Just unfortunately, he's playing in a poor Pat side right now, and I'm hoping they, for more than one reason, they fire up, get going now in the second half of the season, and we see a bit more what that lad can do. Next one.
Goal of the season.
Oh, well, Elding against Shelbourne, Tulka Park, absolute screamer. I mean,
Ridiculous, isn't
what
it?
I love a good thumping goal. I
Yeah,
love those where you get in, just boom. I hate
Yeah,
free kicks. I used to hate when, I'm goal of the season, it's a free kick. No, I'm sorry, you're standing over it. It's a wall. You got time, you got space on it. When you're doing it in live play, and the way he just just bang, and the goalie has no chance. Beautiful. I love. Yeah. What about
yeah,
yours?
yeah. It's hard to deny that one, but I've gone for a different goal that was scored in Talca Park this season. Warren Davis for Drogheda against Shells. The outrageous, the touch he took, the nutmeg the defender, and then smash it into the top bins. Like as good as Elling's goal, I think most footballers have the ability to score a goal like that as such, because he just smashed it. Even though 99% of footballers would never pull it off, but most of them have the ability to do so. I think what Davis done with the touch, the way to nutmeg the defender and smash it in the top corner was absolutely outrageous. But like even Ian Keena's goal against Galway was another piece of absolute magic. Like it seems like there always is worldly scored in the League of Ireland, and yeah, it's only a it's mad. It's good to have that. Like both of us have gone for two young lads as goal this season as well. It shows the not just talent we have in the league, but talent of young players that they can produce these moments of magics and have the really have the bravery and confidence to take it on. Like Elding just was like he's kind of like thing of effort. I'm just hitting this here and shot from 45 yards out and smash it in the top bins. Like so, it's a great position to be in. Yeah,
Yeah, no,
yeah.
absolutely. One more award, was
No,
there?
I think no, just we give it to a first division,
Oh yeah,
which
you're
rules you
getting
out.
given out there.
Yeah,
Yeah, just
because no, just because it's the reality is you haven't got to see much of the first division of any this season. But it is a hard league to watch because it's at the same time as I was saying to you, Dave. It's hard to watch with League of Ireland because it's not like the Premier League where you have games that even Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. But League of Ireland really, unless Sligo are playing at home, realistically
mm,
every single game is on a Friday night at the same time, and you're going to be watching one game and then the highlights of the rest. So yeah, but for I've gone for a league of the first division player of the season so far is I have it as Lee Devitt at Treaty United. Brilliant season so far. I know Treaty fans absolutely adore him. Scoring goals for fun. Treaty are
mm.
doing quite well, and he's kind of really the big reason behind it. Like he's really is tearing up the first division. I would be shocked if he's not playing in the Premier Division next season because he is really making an impact. Which um and Treaty are the type of club really that they probably will struggle to keep hold of lads at the moment until they get to becoming more probably more full time. And yeah, so I would have him as the player of the season so far in the first division. Young player of the year, I have Sean Keogh at Dundalk. I think he's absolutely brilliant left back. I think even when he's played for Ireland under 19s last year, I thought he was one of the best players at left back, and this was him really kind of he wasn't really playing for Dundalk at that stage last season in the Premier Division, and I think he's been absolutely superb again for the Dog this season. He's an 8 out of 10 every week. He's an absolutely brilliant left foot, defensively very solid, very good going forward, takes set pieces. I think he's the potential to be a future Ireland international at left back, and Dundalk are going to have a real challenge this summer keeping hold of him because he's 18 now, and the interest there will be massive. And I'd say he was very close to even making the Ireland 21s, which is I think it's kind of unseen thing to do for someone playing in the first division, but it's just that
Mm.
he's been so good for them, and I think he's only going to get better over time. Like and as good as like Corey O'Sullivan has been for Shamrock Rovers this season, Sean Keogh was starting over him for the under 19s, which shows what he's thought of really in the Ireland picture. So yeah, I'm really excited to see what the future is for Sean Keogh. Hopefully he'll go somewhere next because I don't think he'll be to dog too much longer that he's going to go into a first team environment straight away because he's a real talent. And then the goal this season is another Dundalk man is Leo Gaxka's goal against Kerry. He it was absolutely outrageous. Everyone thought it was a cross, but it actually wasn't a cross. It was under he said well he did say after because he got interviewed after the game and he did say he was like he was asked is that a shot or a cross and he said no it was he said it was a shot. He's like if you look there was no options in the ball, so I kind of just said oh I'll just hit it. I'll just hit it.
Who's it
So
against?
it was against Kerry, so it was against his old club. It was only a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, it was a superb goal. Absolute rifled it in. If you'd say the top corner, yeah, you would say top corner from so far out, and I think it's probably the obvious goal this season so far to me. So yeah, I'm uh, I'm glad to see him do so well since making the move from Kerry to draw or to Dundalk, sorry, this season. And I think Dundalk will probably end up winning the first division, even though I think Bray and Cove have been very good as well. I think Dundalk will end up running away with it quite comfortably, and hopefully, you think with Dundalk they won't lose young lads like Sean Keogh or Vinnie Leonard before the end of the season, that they can, or even if they do lose them, that they won't fall off too much, because their squad is very strong for that division, and it's good to see them rebound so well after what happened last year.
Yeah, I mean, Dundalk going strong, 6 points clear. Our Cove Ramblers, right? That sums up another episode. That is halfway point. Of course, this is normally where we tell you what fixtures are on TV, etc. But of course, there are none because they're on their break. Don't tell Duffer. But of course, we won't be on our break. We will be live for the Republic of Ireland. Of course, play Senegal in Dublin on Friday, and we will be live from the ground for the pre-game. We'll also be there for the aftermath. We're also going to be in Luxembourg as well for the pre-game and the aftermath and all that good stuff. And we're going to have a live show. Are you guys doing a live pre-match, Conor?
Cannot be confirmed.
Not confirmed just yet. We might be doing a live pre-game on the Thursday before the Senegal game. I won't be there, unfortunately, due to family commitments, but the two boys will look after you one way or another. And of course, don't forget, we do have David Ford live. Get your tickets in the description below this episode. £30 will get you a book and some free grub. Come on. And that's in Claddering in London on the 20th of June at 8 p.m. That's in association with Risk London, the Claddering, and of course Hacks. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe to the YouTube channel. Please do like this video. It would mean quite a lot. Head over to our Facebook, Instagram, and our Twitter account, and head up to lansandroar.ie for loads of actually League of Ireland articles over there. That's loads of cracking articles there in the League of Ireland. Some great work over there. And of course, please don't forget, you know, if you like what we're doing, tell people about it, please. And also give us a 5-star review over on Spotify and Apple, because it really, yet again, we're trying to lift the profile of Lansdowne Roar. We are the voice of the fans, and we do it for you and us as well, mostly for you. Anyway, we're going to leave it there. Thank you very much, Conor. Thank you for watching. This is Lansdowne Roar, voice of the fans, and you're all very lovely. Good night.